So I was going through your notes and I see a lot of comments pertaining to soybean and corn and wheat. This is your major focus when we talk about commodities, right? These agricultural names. What was the theme of 2021 and what will we be saying at the end of 2022?
Thanks for the invitation, Nicole. Glad to be here. Yeah, we trade corn.
I mean, that's sort of how it's going to work here. I also saw an interesting stat on how farmers sentiment, and it showed for the second time this year, only of this past year, that they were feeling much better. And it's because of what you're saying, right? That the crops were doing so incredibly well and the price points were looking good. So, you know, it always gives me good feeling to know that farmers are feeling good, but will they continue to feel good in 2022? What is it contingent upon? What are the few things that us who are not fully immersed the way you are? I mean, I always know the China story is a big one. You know, how much will they buy or not buy, and how much does the current administration make them buy? I mean, that's sort of some of it too. So what are we as regular folks supposed to be watching for this?
One thing,
I mean, inflation obviously hitting just about every single sector, including farming and agriculture, as you're saying, because their input costs are more. It's good to chat with you. I enjoyed our conversation very much, and we got to show some great videos too. We don't get to often see that. Brings us back home. Al Cluse, thank you. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Managing Director of Cluse Commodity Advisors. Thanks, Al.
Thanks.
Healthcare Services Equity Analyst over at Jefferies, and Ed Butowski, Managing Partner, Chapwood Investments. Thank you both, gentlemen, for being with me. So Walgreens, we look at the stock and reported better than expected quarterly numbers. Of course, this comes from the COVID vaccines. They did incredibly well. Digital sales surged 88%. Millions of same-day pickup orders, online sales. So it seemed like a very good picture. So Brian, I'll start with you. Tell me your thoughts on what's going on here and where you consider Walgreens a buy at what point.
Sure, Nicole. Thank you for having me today. No, so I think that, you know, as you said,
number two, when you look at IBDs, retail drugstores, is CVS being number one, Walgreens number two, and Rite Aid would be in that third spot. When they look at these, you know, in the earnings per share ratings and I guess future growth, all these things that they would put into it. What are your thoughts on a name like Walgreens? Ed, would you touch this? Is this something you'd have an interest in?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this.
And that's what happens, because you go in there and you buy food and you buy your necessities, your paper towels, and you get your Zyrtec. You get a little bit of everything in there. Ed, do you like this new restructuring with healthcare services? In fact, Brewer of the company, the CEO, is saying we're looking at rapid cadence of adding a new health corner every week on average in 2022. They're going to push that. Ed, your thoughts?
Yeah, and that's very, very profitable for the company as well. I'm surprised.
And Brian, to Ed's point, you know, he loves what it's doing. You said you have a hold. I'd like to know, because the company raised the numbers going forward, right? So in the big picture, is it Walgreens that has a hold? Is it the whole group? Other names that we should be watching when you expand it out, not just to Walgreens, but healthcare overall? You did have Rosalind Brewer, who I said was the CEO. Our testing and vaccinations are the tailwinds of our business. They're increasing their full year adjusted earnings per share. Your thoughts on the growth picture?
yeah, so I think you mentioned, Nicole, that
without a doubt, names like United Health and Humana are under pressure today. To your point, that's another segment for another day. It's time for us to wrap it up. But Ed, I'll give you a few seconds to give me your final thoughts.
I just love the idea of being able to walk in very.
Park. When I used to be living in Long Island, I got to park. Now I have to walk everywhere. And they don't have red wine vinegar, so you know. Don't go there for red wine vinegar. But they have pretty much everything else. Good to see you both, gentlemen. Very nice. I really appreciate it. Happy New Year to you both. Thank you for being with us. And that's Brian Tanquila of Jefferies and Ed Butowski. Thank you both of Chapwood Investments.
Thank you.
Thank you, friends, for being with me here every single weekday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time for the Watch List. I see you at 11 and 2 every day. Thanks for being here.